What is going on, dudes? How you guys doing? I am TheeRealDuke, and welcome to episode number 3 of my Faraway Kingdom Let's Play series. I hope you guys are doing alright. I hope this video finds you well. Thanks for taking a second to check it out. Today I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit, show you guys some tips on how to optimize and best utilize dungeons. Now, I do, for just a second, need to talk a little bit about, as I start these cycles going again here, get a quick attack burst there by clicking that little attack bubble above their heads. I do need to mention heroes and letting them into your town. This is the best way to get solid heroes that will fight for you in your dungeons. Dungeons are your dependable AFK way of earning gold in Faraway Kingdom. They're critical to your success because they get you this cashola, and they're a huge part of what makes the game so much fun. Always welcome these dudes in. Try and leave beds open, and we mentioned this before in the series. Try and leave beds open in as many houses as you can, so that you can get them to join, and they won't maybe be stars for raiding parties, but you can get some really serviceable heroes for free. At the very least, if there's no room in your houses, clicking on them and cycling through them gets them into your inn, and anywhere from 20 to whatever, 50 or 60 gold. It's free money. Just keep clicking them. Even if you're not going to use them, even if you don't have room, just keep cycling through. Just want to get that out there. There's other reasons for cycling through them that we'll touch on later, but I just gotta, boom, get through that. So, oh, yeah. This guy, rescuing heroes, check this out. So a great reason to keep cycling through them. Okay. Well, first let's take a look at this. Check this out. Ooh, we got a special guy down here we need to take out. We'll come back down to him. Now, we've seen these guys here in the past. Down in the dungeons here that there's a cage filled with heroes that need rescuing. And this guy comes up now. There's a chance to earn a lot of great things from fighting these guys, but we need to save these heroes too, and they become your allies in a very unique and very interesting way. So let's go ahead and take on this guy. This guy's going to take 7 hours and 8 minutes to kill with the chumps I have currently on this level. I don't have anybody with the Spooky Mansion as their destiny yet. But what happens is, and this is another reason for you to keep cycling through the heroes that appear at the front of your kingdom. It may take a while, and you may have to cycle through quite a few heroes that appear at your kingdom. It may be quite a few, and I really mean quite a few. Like a lot of them. Like a whole lot of them. Like a lot. And then finally, one of the heroes that you rescue in the dungeon. And one of the dungeons down there appears. When you click on them, boom, they go down to work. You can click over there and you can see them come in. Watch this timer drop in here. They're taking minutes off, and they're not doing it for you instantaneously, but they are taking a big chunk of damage right out of the equation for you to really drop your time here. Looking pretty good. Boss maybe probably by the time she's done there 3 or 4 minutes. Yeah, get it, yeah. So you can see again, and here's another one here, going down into Dungeon 3, which there's nobody down there. Quick. Too late. We missed. That's alright. Anyway, you saw what they do usually. So keep cycling through. To make dungeons work to their fullest capacity for you, you need to pay attention to basically 3 different kinds of things. Primarily, the first one that you'll be looking at is your players' the hero stats. So if you've been playing Faraway Kingdom for a little while, you'll notice that all 5 of the different elements, stars, darkness, nature, frost, and fire, in no particular order, and they each have their corresponding symbol, and dungeons are divided up based upon those elements. So checking the stats of each of the guys in each of the heroes in your dungeon is your first line of defense. So they handle the damage right here, and obviously it says damage per sec is determined by the total elemental stats of the heroes in the dungeon. I don't know how they get from 12 plus 10 plus 10 to 68, but you know, hey, all good. All good. So there is the total number down here of hit points of the monsters in the dungeon. This damage is figured into that, and then damage per second divided by total damage divided into total damage needed to be done gives you how long it will take for you to defeat that monster and collect your treasure. So this is very important. So seeing packing dungeons with dudes that have stats that are as high as you can manage depending on your mix of heroes is a big point to success in clearing those dungeons as quickly as you can. The next thing that you need to be concerned with when you're choosing heroes and setting them, deploying them into dungeons, is the class mix. So here we can see I have a warrior, I have a mage, and a priest, and these things will actually adjust your critical hit percentage. So you can see I have one of each here, and so my critical percent is maxed out at 20%. Here I only have two classes, and it's only 10%. And do I have one where the best I could do is everybody in the same class? Yes, I do, right here. So check this out. 5% is the bottom of the critical barrel. This is terrible. I need to change these. I'm about to do some house cleaning, which we'll talk a little bit about later. So definitely pay attention to that, because increased critical hit percentage will decrease the time for you to beat that dungeon. Last but not least, for you guys to consider when you're deploying your heroes to different dungeons, is destinies. Destinies are, I mean, all of these things need to be kept in balance, but destinies have the potential to be pretty huge for you. So you can see here, there's the ancient dungeon is Lita Hyroll's destiny. Maribel's destiny is the ancient dungeon. She happens to be there. She gets the green smiley face. Also, this number here tells you what level, if you have this dungeon available. It tells you what level. Let's see if we can find one that I don't have. Yeah, so I haven't unlocked the underworld, so there's no number there. I have unlocked Heroes of the Battlefield, and it's my 5th floor down. Anyway, so they're important, and I'll show you exactly how important they can be. So if a hero is deployed to their destiny dungeon, you can see that their actual symbol changes color from the colored symbol on the black background to the colored background with the black symbol. So this one lets you know that someone is destined to be there. And you can see it's whoever's happy. They're destined to be there. But again, we were just at her house and we saw that Maribel's destiny was the ancient dungeon. You can see in here. And that is where she happens to be. Now, this is a floor with one person in their destiny. Check this out. The snowy fields. Nobody here is their destiny, is destined to be here, and so your gold multiplier for this floor is 1x. If you have a floor of the dungeons where we have, let's go back up to the ancient dungeon, you can see we have one person, and it's 1.3. The World of Constellations, I happen to have two people whose destiny this is. It's 1.6. And then I have a floor where, give me that money, I have a floor where I have one of each class and one of each person in their destiny, and so we have a 2x gold multiplier, doubles the gold for that floor. So that can be really, really powerful. Pay attention to deploying, if possible. Keep an eye on deploying heroes to their destiny dungeons. So the most important question then is which part of deploying your heroes and welcoming them into your kingdom is the most important? What are we looking for most of all, the number one stat for us to focus on when we are either evicting, like I'm doing to Anatoly here, sorry buddy, or deploying to dungeons. What is it? What is it exactly that we're looking for? Well, unfortunately, there's not one easy answer. It is about striking a balance, and that balance is critical because you know what? It depends on the luck of the draw. It depends on your unique and individual mix of heroes in your unique and individual kingdom, and that's gonna just varies from player to player. So, for example, is it class mix? Is it raw stats? Is it destiny? Your one goal is to get the most cash per unit time. This depends on your mix of heroes. For example, a hero with higher stats than another hero in a particular element sounds great for a particular dungeon. You know, a hero with higher star stats, for example, obviously you would think to maybe put them in the world of constellations, right? Because that's the stat there. But you know, if including a weaker hero means they're destined to that dungeon, so someone destined to the world of constellations, and that would bump the gold multiplier to 2x, so we would be getting double gold at the end of however long it would take us to defeat this dungeon. Even if it takes a little bit longer because that hero happens to be dealing less damage than another hero, but it happens to be their destiny, because it's their destiny, and it'll bump up our gold multiplier to 2x. You can kind of see where this is going. It would have to take more than twice as long for that to not be worth it. So you need to figure out your best balance based upon your particular collection of heroes. It's going to take some time, but now you understand how damage is dealt in the dungeons. You shouldn't have too difficult of a time, but this changes from time to time. So if you're on top of each hero and you immediately optimize them and shuffle around into their, you know, optimal dungeon, and you keep tabs on them as they come in, as you let them into your kingdom, right? Which I wish I had the ability to do. I unfortunately do not. You know, if you're on top of it, that's great. That is absolutely great, and I applaud you. I can't do that. I don't have that kind of focus. I tend to, you know, if you're like me, you like filling dungeons with whoever's around to at least start making cash instead of leaving them, you know, empty, waiting for a perfect hero to arrive to include in that dungeon. You may, like I need to do, and you've seen as I've been poking around the dungeons here to give you guys examples, you may need to do some cleanup now and again. So as you play, after, you know, an overnight, for example, like you go to bed at night, you wake up in the morning, all of your dungeons are cleared out. If you don't keep constant tabs on each individual hero in your kingdom, because eventually it's going to be difficult to do so, because you're going to have dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of heroes, not hundreds, easily hundreds. What you need to do, because you've just woken up, all your dungeons are clear, dismiss all the heroes. Okay, and I do this occasionally, every once in a while. It's time for me to do this kind of spring cleaning again. Dismiss all the heroes, and then I start to go through and reorganize and make sure the strongest or best pairings for each floor of the dungeons are achieved. So I generally start reassigning from the bottom up, because the bottom floors tend to be more difficult. The monsters tend to have more hit points, they tend to take longer, and therefore you make more money. So I kind of prioritize in that way. Yes, they are also intended to make you cash while you're away, but it does behoove you to check back often. Special monsters occasionally appear, but you also need to restart battles, as you can see me doing here, as I've been doing this whole episode, right? And then also, you've also seen me right here, boom, like that. Those little speech bubbles appear with a little, I guess, a sword in them, and when you hit them, you can see they kind of go on a little burst of damage there, where they do some pretty intense damage over a short period of time. And that just, you know, hey, this is a race against time, essentially. So the more your overall goal for the dungeons is to do the most amount of damage to the mobs that are in there as fast as you can, so you can repeat that and make as much gold as you can per unit amount of time. That's the goal. So whatever balance of heroes in that dungeon you need to do to achieve that. Maybe that's what it takes. Maybe that's what you need to do. But if you pay attention to what you're doing, if you have a basic understanding of how damage is dealt in the dungeons, you will be well on your way to making some gold. That is it for this episode. Just a quick overview on dungeons. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to drop me a line. Leave a comment in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you guys. Also, don't forget to add me, TheeKingDuke. You know me. Add me. But, you know, be a good friend. That is it for me for this episode. Thanks so much for watching, dudes. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you found it useful. Check out my YouTube channel for other Let's Plays and gaming bids, some other general type nerdy stuff. If you dig pixely stuff, so do I. I think we would have a lot in common. So give it a look-see if you haven't already. Thanks again so much for watching, dudes. I do genuinely appreciate every single like, comment, view, and sub. That is it for me for this episode. It's TheeRealDuke, and I'm out.